Your thoughts on tonight's performance?
Yeah, it pretty much took the sort of shape and picture that I expected coming here. I've run into this type of Red Bull team on numerous occasions, and they go about their business in a specific way, and they took their moments very well that they were presented with. And I think the story of the game for us was first goal changed the dynamic of where things were going. I felt pretty comfortable up until that first goal. We needed to certainly be better with the ball, be more effective going forward, and a slight change to the shape. But with some bodies out, omissions, and we're struggling with certain individuals physically leading into this game, it was always going to be difficult to maybe create the same dynamic that we have on a couple of occasions. However, I thought the second half started a lot brighter, sadly, with their very first attack, and maybe after one of our first or clear chances with Lagrassa, who skied over the bar, they go down the other end and extend their lead. So, tip our hat to them. Nobody wants to lose, but on the night, they were certainly better than us with the ball and took full advantage of their moments.
Thank you, Coach. A reminder to the media to please alert me through the chat if you have a question for Coach Smith tonight or any of the players who will be coming after. With that, we'll open the floor for questions. We will kick it off with Tim Sullivan with Club and Country.
Hey, Gary, a couple of substitution-oriented questions. First of all, what went into giving Koze his debut, and how did you think he performed? And then with Walker coming off, was that a fatigue thing? Was that just kind of a game plan thing? What was behind that decision?
Walker's one. He came back from his international duty up in Salt Lake against Costa Rica with a little bit of a difficulty in his lower abdominal, and I was really trying to protect him more than anything. He got through an hour of football, and at that point, I felt we needed to chase the game a little bit more, and it may put him under undue pressure, knowing that we've got some very big games coming up. So I hope I caught that early enough. As far as Koze is concerned, he's been absolutely terrific in the work in training. Deserved this opportunity. Unfortunately for Koze, not an easy game to come into. A bit of a baptism of fire. I would have liked to have maybe introduced him into a game that might have helped navigate his experiences a little bit easier. But I thought he did and performed in a sterling way. Not an easy environment to make your debut, but he's a very, very genuine kid and he's got a bright future.
Thank you, Coach. We will continue with Drake Hills with the Tennessean.
Yeah, Gary, particularly before that first goal, would you say, just as far as how, when Nashville was able to win possession and usually that first pass, did you think that, I guess, the chemistry, whether it was with Hani and CJ, do you think that was maybe a little bit off just in terms of how Nashville wanted to release and start a counterattack? Do you think that was a bit under, subpar a little bit?
Yeah, there's a number of things going into tonight's game, Drake, that a lot of people wouldn't have been able to appreciate. Players like CJ, who's had one training session since Atlanta because of an injury to his foot. I thought his efforts were magnificent given the lack of work that he's had. The layoff can sometimes create a difficulty in the momentum that you've created, just the shape and the connections within the group. 3 weeks is a long time off, and we see it so many times in a game where a team leaves the field having played particularly well for the first period, comes back out and just not the same team, and you wonder why. And with a 3-week lapse, it is possible. There were too many players, unfortunately for us, in those transitional moments that, to your point, Drake, were not as clean We're not as concise. We certainly didn't look enough of a threat going beyond. I think Randall's exploits with his country have taken an awful lot out of him. Looked particularly flat this evening. And omissions like Annabelle are big losses for us. It'd be a big loss for any team. So look, I know we've got to work through that, but to your point, yes, of course, there were some areas of our game that we certainly should have been better. I did, however, think that in terms of a group and a style to slow them down, because they play a very, very quick game. They want to make things happen quickly. They want to get players in behind. And for 35, 36 minutes until the goal went in, I thought we looked great, not a problem. The one thing on my mind going into the break as we entered into that final 10 minutes was, okay, how are we going to get a bit more traction going forward? Maybe a couple of changes, some fresher legs, and then they scored. And it was disappointing, but as I said, they took advantage of a few moments and few sights to go, and credit to them.
And right with Broadway Sports with the next question.
Yeah, Gary, it's felt a couple of times this season that the midfield has kind of struggled to link up with your forwards, and tonight to break down New York's press. I know some of that was down to Annabelle Godoy not being there, but do you feel like that's a fair assessment? And then I guess, how do you deal with that going forward, especially with the potential that he'll miss time at the Gold Cup?
Yeah, I'm not sure your assessment's a particularly clear one for the way that we've played. Certainly at home, away games are very different, and they're very different against teams like New York, teams that want to press and want to make things happen quickly on the front foot. They force you to be a little bit more direct. I've watched multiple games here where teams have tried to play through them, and they've made mistakes. Orlando being one of them in the last game, and New York took advantage of it. So, having a game plan, being able to navigate some of the things that we knew they were going to throw at us, but also be effective ourselves. And I do think there'll be a number of players that will get on tonight, and if they're truly honest with themselves, they were below par. They weren't good enough going forward. We weren't good enough on the ball, and that's what happens. You put much more reliance on your defending. In fairness, to a large degree, we did it well again. But even in those moments of opportunity, we didn't have anyone in our group that was capable of stepping up and giving us a lifeline. And when you're a goal and 2 goals down, as we've seen in previous games, somebody's got to step up and get us back into the game. But, maybe this was one game too many where we've been asked to recover 2 goals. You just can't do it all the time. I certainly believe through the adversity of a defeat, it gives everyone, or should give everyone, a little bit of a reality check. Yes, we've been on a decent run. We've been unbeaten. But even again, with our own standards, we certainly believe that we should have added a couple more points to the board. And now we come into a very long home stretch of games, and we have to take advantage of those games. And today will be a reminder that the next games will be pivotal for us.
Tim Sullivan with a follow-up question.
Hey, Gary, one of those opportunities that you guys had, first of all, I guess it came in 2 parts. What did you see on the foul on CJ just outside the box? And then Hani's free kick that rung the crossbar. What did you see out of that attempt from him? And then did you think it was going in from where you were standing? Well,
listen, our moments were few and far between, that is for sure. Randall had the best opportunity in open play at 2-0, and the goalkeeper makes a decent save. Big moment. My opinion on the CJ one, I'd have to see it again. I haven't seen a replay of it, so maybe I'm speaking a little bit out of turn. But the player impedes him as he takes his touch and then fouls him and brings him down. So the touch is affected by the player that's close to him. Now, if I'm wrong on that, I'll hold my hand up. But that was the way I saw it. The referee's decision was that his touch had taken him wide. I guess VAR felt the same thing. But my opinion was that the defender had affected that touch. So therefore, play should have gone off. However, as I say, I'm open to looking back on that and changing my mind, of course. And Hannes was a terrific effort. You're talking about an inch either way, and he practices those many times a week, and we're very hopeful he might have got us back in the game. But it's a great effort. Yes, of course, I thought it might have gone in, but wasn't to be.
Thank you. Koze, who has made his debut, his Major League Soccer debut today. Koze, how did you feel?
It was a great feeling. Tough loss, tough game, but making my debut, it's always a good feeling to make a professional debut. But it just sucks that we didn't get the win.
So they can properly hear you. All right, with that, we're gonna open the floor for questions. Just a reminder to the media to please alert us through the chat if you have a question for Koze or any of the players who are coming after him. We will kick it off with a question from Team Suleiman with Capital Country.
Obviously a difficult situation to make your debut, Koze, but what was the feeling of finally, putting your name up on that substitution board and stepping out onto the field for this team?
My heart was racing really fast, because it was in front of a lot of fans. I've never played in front of this many fans. But other than that, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling coming on, trying to do my best and help the team.
Thank you, Koze. We will continue with a question from Ben Wright.
Yeah, Koze, first of all, congrats on your debut. Can you just tell me kind of what Gary told you on the sidelines before you went in, what his instructions were, and just what he told you before you came in?
He told me to, go out there and have fun, relax, play your game, and have fun.
Thank you. We will go on with a question from Claudio Villalobos.
Koze, do you think, we're looking at the game and the way it developed, would you think the result would have been the same no matter how hard you guys might have tried today because of the circumstances?
Sorry, what was the last thing you said?
Well, because of the circumstances of the game, do you think that the result probably would have been a loss anyways?
If I'm understanding you correctly, the question is that the result will have standard regardless of the
correct.
Of his entrance today.
Correct.
The world of football, you never know, anything can happen. The ball bounces. You never know, really. One person can make a difference. One person can make a difference. It's the whole team collectively. So I'm not sure to answer your question.
We will continue with a question from Ray Hills with the Tennessean.
Yeah, Koze, what was it like playing with Dax once you got in there? It seemed that he was, oftentimes giving you directions and trying to help you out a bit as the flow of play went on. What was it like going up and with him in an actual game versus, obviously training with him?
Yes, playing with Dax is such an honor. He's a senior player, very smart, very talented, and playing with him, it was amazing. He was guiding me, telling me what to do, and all this. But it was a great feeling. It was a great opportunity to get to play with him in a real game.
Thank you, and we have time for one more question. This is a follow-up from Team Sullivan.
Koze, when you enter the game, seeing, looking up at the scoreboard and understanding kind of what the situation is, what is your mindset? How do you feel that you can go into the match and maybe change the outcome as it stands when you go in with down 2-0?
Oh, my mindset was to just like, be brave and play my game and like just, as a midfielder, like in that role, try to prevent them from scoring more goals and stuff and try to push the ball forward in order to get some results at least.
Dave, how did you feel? I know the result isn't what you will have hoped for, but personally, how did it feel for you?
Honestly, I didn't know until just now. So, but yeah, it's obviously a good feeling to start getting minutes in the league and being in the league for a certain amount of time, something I never really thought was possible as a kid. But getting 100 starts and playing this league this is my 7th season now, it's definitely a good feeling. Just want to keep playing and get as many games as I can and hopefully get us on a nice little playoff run.
Thank you, Dave. We will now open the floor for questions. As per usual, please have a reminder to alert me through the chat if you have a question for Dave. And we kick it off with one from Team Sullivan with Caravan Country.
Dave, what did you see on that first goal for the Red Bulls? Obviously it was a beautiful finish, but how did you see that play kind of developing?
Just typical Red Bull fashion. They just wanted to create chaos, just get the ball in the dangerous areas, just kind of play kickball and just make things happen. Initial ball got flicked on and it kind of got flicked onto their other forward. And surprisingly, the ball checked up. I think it was both Walker and the forward were kind of played as if it was going to skip because the ball was skipping. The field was wet the whole time, and the ball checked up for some reason, like the field was dry. So the ball went kind of short, and then he flicked it on, and the guy had an amazing finish. It's unfortunate. Some goals you just have to take your hat off and just say that was a nice finish. We obviously could have done better as a team. I could probably have been shifted over more. Guys could have won their battles, but at the end of the day, it's a half chance that a guy makes an amazing finish on. Joe can't do anything. I personally haven't seen the play again, so I can't really give a full analysis on it. I just kind of remember what I saw the first time and what happened. And so, yeah, I wish I had seen the play already again, but I haven't. So maybe I would have judged it differently had I seen it again, seen a couple of replays. But from what I saw on the field, that's what I think. But I could be completely wrong if I watched it again.
I'll give it 1 minute. Just a reminder to media, if you have questions, please alert me through the chat. Otherwise, we will continue with our trip back home. But it sounds like Team Sullivan has a follow-up question for you, Dave.
Dave, obviously, we've seen not only with this club, but with the USL club that Gary really doesn't like to change his center backs. What is it for you when your center back partner is subbed out? Does it significantly impact the way you have to play?
No, not really. It obviously doesn't help when you lose the defensive player of the year last year, but Julio steps in. He's always a good player. He's a league veteran, so it's never like something I have to be worried about. And I think Walker was kind of coming in with an injury. Nothing too bad, but we have a busy week coming up. We have a game on Wednesday and Saturday, so I think he was just kind of analyzing the situation, saying, let's get him healthy and ready for these next 2 games coming up at home, which are very, very important. So I think he was just playing it safe there. But anytime Julio comes in, I'm not worried at all. He's a league veteran. He knows what he's doing. So it's not anything I have to change in my game.